Thank you so very much for joining us here today at Church on the Rock. I know that God has something incredible planned for you throughout this message. If this is your first time tuning into our podcast, let me encourage you to go to jesusistherock.org. That's our website. On there, you will find anything and everything you need to know about us. Now, before we jump into this, let me pray that God has a specific word for you.
You have your Bibles, turn to Proverbs chapter 9. I'm going to be brief tonight. As I told you, we've got these nights. Staying in the theme of wisdom and kind of trying to stay in Proverbs probably for most of it. And tonight is going to be it's a little point to ponder. It's really one little thought I'm going to share with you. And again, it's one of those things that it's not right or it's not wrong. Deal with a little issue so I don't want to be misunderstood as I tell you, because this is not a right and wrong thing. Sometimes this is just a thinking about what's wise for our lives. Sometimes something cannot be wrong, but that doesn't mean it's wise. And so I'm just going to share a little bit with you out of Proverbs chapter 9, and beginning with verse 9, it says, "Teach the wise, and they will be wiser still. Teach the righteous, and they will learn more. Fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Knowledge of the Holy One results in understanding. Wisdom will multiply your days and add years to your life. If you become wise, you will be the one to benefit. If you store wisdom, you will be the one to suffer." You know, how important is it for us to choose wisely and to make wise choices? It's so clear. If you become wise, you will be the one to benefit. If you scorn wisdom, you will be the one to suffer. I would say it's pretty wise. It's pretty important. But for tonight, I want to focus on verse 9, where it says, "Teach the wise, and they will be wiser still." Teach the wise, and they'll be wiser still. So for the next few minutes, I want us to just explore a concept that may seem a little bit foreign to your thinking, may even seem kind of backwards as to what you thought or what you believe. And I know when I first started thinking about it was. But I guess I begin by asking tonight: where are we putting the majority of our energy? Where do we spend the majority of our time? Where do we invest the majority of our thoughts? What are we thinking about mostly? What do we spend our days and nights meditating on? If we're serious about chasing wisdom, where should we be using our energy and our time and our money and our thoughts? We've only got so much resources: time, money, talent, energy. So we have to put them somewhere. Now, to kind of narrow that on down into our thinking, I want us to deal with this one question tonight for just a few minutes. Should we focus more on our strengths or our weaknesses? And just sort of ponder that question, because there's not a right answer or a wrong answer. But should we focus more on our strengths or our weaknesses? Let me try to give you an example as to what we probably do the most. Most people, maybe you're not like this, but let's say you have a son or a daughter that comes home from school and they have a report card and they have all A's and B's except for history. And history, they have a D-. Which one of those grades are we going to talk about the most? What gets our attention first? Wait a minute. What's this D- business? D-? What are you doing making a D- in history? That's sort of what catches our attention. Now, I'm a little bit ashamed of this, to be honest, but to be completely transparent, when I was going to school, D's were your friend. Because D's meant you were going to the next grade. And, that's all I really cared about. D's were your friend. It got you by. But by the time I was older and a little bit wiser, I didn't let my girls get away with that. It was we wanted to get A's and B's, but it seems like, though, normally our normal reaction is to give the lion's share of our attention to this D minus. What's the problem? What's this? And I'm not saying tonight or insinuating that that's wrong. We're not talking about right and wrong. We're talking about what's wise. Now we can look at that D minus and we can zero in on that and we can say, well, you know what? You'll just spend 30 minutes a day extra studying history, because that's not acceptable to come in with D minus. We'll hire a tutor if we have to. 3 days a week, you can just be tutored, and we're going to get that D minus up to an A or B. And I'm not knocking that. I'm not suggesting that you shouldn't do that. But what if, instead of focusing all of our energy on that D, or that D minus, whatever, what if we start to look at those A's and say, but I'm noticing something. Ever since you've been in school, you've had straight A's in math. I mean, you don't even study, and still you just kill math. You just go, you go through that, and you have no problem. You just breeze through it. Could it be possible that the wise thing here to do is come to grips with the fact that little Johnny or Johnette, whatever the case may be, is probably never going to be a historian? They're probably never going to like history. They probably don't like it. They probably don't. It's not to say that we should ignore the D, not try to do something to bring it up. But what if we started pouring the majority of our attention into that area of math? What if we looked at the potential that little Johnny or little Johnette has in a career that requires a lot of math, and say, you know what? You're flying through this. If we're going to get a tutor, we're going to get a math tutor, because we're going to take you from what you're already good at and make you great at it. You've already got this gift in math. That's what we're going to focus on. Instead of focusing on your weakness, we're going to focus on your strength. And that's what I think about when I read this. Teach the wise, and they'll be wiser still. They're already wise. They've already got this thing. So if you focus on that, this can be incredible. This can go to the next level. And I thought about this as I was watching. Any of you guys watch golf? I can't see a thing. Man, those are bright tonight. Anybody watch the Masters Sunday before last? A few of you did. There's a kid now named Jordan Speaks, and he's the hottest thing since Tiger Woods hit. And he, Sunday before last, he didn't just win the Masters, but he beat the whole field by 5 strokes or so was the next guy behind him. He didn't just win the Masters, but he broke 3 or 4 records while doing it. He shot the lowest individual score in one day that had ever been shot there. He was the first person to ever reach 19 under par at this golf course in Augusta in the Masters. He broke all of these records. This kid is 21 years old. 21 years old. And Tiger Woods and all of the big name golfers, they were all following him. And he led this thing. And so that was a great story in itself. And people were watching. It was all over the news. Everybody was focusing on this young kid that was winning the Masters. 14 years old. He says, my ultimate goal is I want to win the Masters. And something his coach said earlier, he's right now at the head of the field. Our job is to keep him there. And I thought that's exactly what I'm talking about. Something that this kid didn't go out. He didn't go out and try to be a great football player and a great basketball player and a great baseball player and do all this stuff. But he knew he was gifted and talented to play golf. At 14 years old, he was ranked in the top 2% in the world. And he focused on that talent. And now, Sunday was a week ago, his dream came true. His goal bigger and better, I think, than he could ever imagine. What if we focus on our strengths more than our weaknesses. And that's not to say we should ignore our weaknesses at all, but this doesn't just apply to kids in school and God, but in everyday life. Some people spend all of their time and our energy and our money trying to do something or be something that we're probably never going to be good at. We're probably never. I could take singing lessons from now till Jesus comes, and you still wouldn't want to listen to me. I could buy the best microphones and go to the best recording studios in the world and still never be able to sing well. So why would I want to pour all of my energy and my time and my money and my efforts into trying to do something that I'm never going to be good at? It's not my gift, and it's not my talent, and it's not my anointing. So instead of focusing all of my energy on trying to be a great singer, what if instead I just find out what I am gifted to do, what I am talented to do, what I am anointed to do, what I am able to do, and start pouring my time and energy into that? Teach the wise, and they'll be wiser still. Teach the righteous, and they'll learn more. Feed your strengths. Not everyone's gifted and anointed to preach or teach. Now, that doesn't mean they can't do it, and they may do it and even get some results from it. Somebody said even a broken clock's right twice a day, right? So you may get some results from it, but if preaching and teaching is not where your gifting lies, then you would be better served to find out what you are gifted at and pour your attention and your resources and your energy into that, because listen to me, everybody is good at something. Everybody is good at something. We have people in this church, you have the Kevin Cadies that knows that God, he'll tell you God's anointed my hands to build. And he goes out and works on all of these projects that we have come up where people need help working on their houses and things. And he builds things and does, Buddy does a great job cutting grass and doing yours. Ann Burgo actually uses painting as a stress relief. And I don't mean painting a picture on a canvas. I mean painting on a wall. So I invited her over a while back. I said, I'm going to give you some free stress relief. I'm not going to charge you a thing because I've got some walls. And she come painted walls. She said she loves to paint. You may be gifted to cook, or you may, there's Linda Broom is a lady in our church that lady she can cook. I think she could almost make onions taste good. Not really, but almost. But that's her gift, and that may be your gift. And cleaning the house or vacuuming or washing clothes, that might just wear you out. And I'm not suggesting that you ignore the clothes or ignore the house, but if you focus enough energy on your cooking, you may be able to hire somebody to clean your house and wash your clothes if you put your energy into what you really are gifted and able to do. One of my favorite definitions of success, I tell young people especially all the time, the definition of success is discover what it is you love to do and figure out how to get paid for it. That's the definition of success, because we live in America. And in America, you can get paid to do almost anything if you just find the right market for it. I told a guy that one time, and he said, all I like to do is fish. And I said, all right, get you a boat, start taking your buddies out, charging them a little gas money, doing this. I said, pretty soon you're in the charter boat business. You're getting paid to go fishing every day. People do it all over the country. It's amazing. You can get paid for almost anything. And by using that definition, I tell people I'm the most successful person I know. I'm not the richest, I'm not the most famous, but I'm the most successful because I do what I love to do every day and make a living at it. That's successful. Find out what you're gifted at, what things you really love to do, and pour your energy into those things. And teach the wise, they'll be wiser. Teach the righteous, they'll learn even more. Feed your strength. Don't ignore your weaknesses. We have to deal with our weaknesses. And our weaknesses, if we do ignore them, sometimes they'll end up destroying us. So we don't ignore our weaknesses, but let's be sure that we're feeding our strengths. Discover what it is. What is your God-given talents? What is that thing that just winds your clock, that just keeps you up at night, that you just love to do? You know, if we begin to focus and hone in on those things and really begin to pour our time and energy into those things and watch what God can do with those.
Again, thank you so very much for checking out our podcast. If you would like to share what God is doing in your life, maybe you have a prayer request or just seeking answers, let me encourage you to go to our Facebook or our Twitter, or even email us at pray@jesusistherock.org. If you would like to give to our ministries financially, you may easily do so by going to jesusistherock.org and clicking on the giving button at the very right-hand corner of the screen. Have a wonderful day.